is still running, right?
Absolutely.
With that, Shiv, I think we should start. It's already it's time, and I understand. I'm mindful that this session would continue till 55 minutes. So probably we could start and get going, and everyone's kind of eager to hear you. So let me try and do justice. I've been given the huge task of introducing Shiv. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sidhi Dhir, and I'm the Executive Director for TiE Singapore. Wish you all a very happy new year. Thank you so much for joining us in our first session in 2021. And what better way to start the new year by giving a motivational talk and call none other than Mr. Shiv Khera, who is one of the most renowned motivational speakers globally. The session for today is Turn Setbacks into Comebacks. Before we go further into the topic, let me give you a brief introduction and try and do justice to the famous author, Shiv. Shiv Khera is an author, educator, business consultant, and a much sought after speaker. He inspires and encourages individuals to realize their true potential. He has taken his dynamic personal messages to opposite sides of the globe, from US to Singapore, and has understandingly put millions on the path of growth and fulfillment. Over 8 million copies of his books have been sold globally, which includes his international bestseller, You Can Win, in 21 languages. His clients include Lufthansa, HP, DHL, HSBC, Canon, the list goes on. Tens and thousands have benefited from his dynamic workshops internationally in over 20 countries, and millions have heard him as a keynote speaker. He has appeared in numerous radios and television shows. He's the brand ambassador of Roundtable Foundation and has been honored by the Lions International and Rotary International. Shiv is also a charter member with TiE Singapore. His trademark is winners don't do things differently. Winners don't do different things, they do things differently. With that, another 2 points which I want to mention about Shiv is that in the last 5.5 months, this is his 133rd webinar. And a small thing, yesterday Shiv was not feeling well. Rather, he was in the hospital and had checkups done. He got up after sleeping straight for 12 hours because he was under medication. And he's here talking to all of you and trying to inspire. So Shiv, thank you so much once again for that. Before I hand over the session to Shiv, few housekeeping rules. I'll request you to interact and discuss whatever you hear and your ideas on the chat. Any questions that you have for Shiv, please put it in the Q&A box. Please switch off your mobiles so that you could concentrate and grasp as much as possible from the anecdotes that Shiv would share. And lastly, please enjoy yourself. With that, Shiv, over to you.
Thank you, Sidhi, for the kind words. I'm grateful to you. Indeed. Well, Happy New Year to all of you. Folks, first of all, I must say that I don't have all the answers. I don't know if anybody in the world who has all the answers. Certainly I don't. But why did I pick this topic as turn setback into comeback? Because in my own life, I had 3 major setbacks where I went into a minus in my life, minus. And what helped me come back is really what I'm going to share tonight. And folks, academics are, I'm not that educated. My academics are, I'm a BCom 3rd division. I failed in my 10th. That's my academics. And I come from a business family. We had coal mines in India, close to 1,000 people working for us. I didn't create the mines, I inherited them. And the mines got nationalized, the government took over. And right from being a mine owner, we came on the street. Street means street. Some families had money, our family did not. My father had died when I was just about in college, and we were left with the liabilities and the assets were gone. And I was married only 4 weeks then. I remember a year later, my daughter was born. And I sold some of the last piece of my mother's jewelry to get released from the hospital. I did not have $10 to buy milk that night. Folks, after that, I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money, and I failed in all 3. Finally, November 13, 1975, I left India, went to US. Initially went to Toronto and started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars door to door. For a year and a half, I was on the street washing cars. And totally by accident, I got into selling life insurance. And I think that was the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. But within 3 months, my manager called me to fire me for non-performance. And from this point onwards, what changed? Thereafter, I started hitting $1 million policies, moved on to the US, got into 3 businesses. I bought out a company out of California in 1984, started the New Jersey operation with no clients. I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. And what is the learning that helped me turn around is really what I'm going to share tonight. Now, folks, with this pandemic that is here, the crisis, it's covered the whole world. Shortage of supplies, overcrowded hospitals, jobs are being cut and unemployment happening and death rate going up, factories are closing, businesses are closing, has caused, shaken up the whole world. And this has caused a lot of uncertainty. And that uncertainty has led to insecurity. And the insecurity has led to stress, anxiety, frustration, depression, and even anger. Folks, I just read the WHO report. It said domestic violence during this period in the last 6 months has gone up by 50%. Imagine domestic violence has gone up. It's sad. Now, this crisis, all I can say is stress is both normal and natural. Anybody who says they have no stress, they belong to a lunatic asylum. Now, folks, stress is not bad. In fact, many times in life, stress makes us perform. The athlete at the Olympics, is he under stress? Answer is yes. If he was not, how can he perform? The best example that I can think of, I'm sure many of us in real life might have seen, or seen in the movies at least, at the race course. Have you noticed, Sidhi, at the race course when the thoroughbreds, when they are being taken into the cabin, are they walking casually relaxed? Answer is no. They are jumping like this. Why? They are under very heavy stress. And the moment they get in the cabin, the bell rings. What happens? Bang, they shoot and they perform. They shoot and they perform. That's a thoroughbred. But you take a jackass to the race course. This jackass is walking so relaxed, comfortable, cool. He's not jumping like a thoroughbred. But remember, for the rest of his life, he will remain a jackass and he will never in life perform like a thoroughbred. Now, here is the big thing. Remember, stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. Sidhi, hear this out. Stress is the price we pay to be a thoroughbred in life. Now, folks, all of us can handle stress. All of us can handle stress. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. Are you with me, Sidhi? All of us can handle stress. What we cannot handle is chronic stress. Think about it. Think about it. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? I repeat, how come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Now, folks, very important thing. Let us not overrate this crisis and threat, and let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. One more time. Let us not overrate this crisis and threat, and let us not underrate our strength to fight and win. Now, this crisis has impacted us 3 ways. Folks, one is it has impacted our life, 2, our livelihood, and 3, our lifestyle. 3 things. Now, how has it impacted our life? Folks, none of us know who will be in quarantine next. Nobody knows. And 2, what we do and where we go and who we meet could be a matter of life and death. Sidhi, are you with me? What we do and where we go and who we meet could be a matter of life and death. That's life. 2, it has impacted our livelihood. You see, all over the world, with the job cuts, salary cuts, somewhere businesses have closed and some have closed permanently. In New York, the restaurant trade has closed. 50% of the restaurant trade has closed permanently, gone forever. And even the governments are having problems. They're not collecting the taxes either. But who are the worst hit? Folks, every country has three kinds of people. One is the super rich, two, the mediocre, and three, the poor. The poor are the worst hit because they're the daily wage earners. They work during the day, eat in the evening. They're the worst hit. But the super rich are becoming richer. During this period, hear this one more time, the super rich have become richer. Folks, they don't have any cash flow problem. They don't have a livelihood issue. Now, I was just reading that the Apple company has $250 billion in cash reserve. Now, how can they have a cash flow problem? They don't have it. Now, I was just reading here the Economic Times. Mukesh Ambani's net worth in the last 6 months has gone up by $22 billion. Sidhi, did you know that? His net worth went up in the last 6 months by $22 billion. And you know what that means? 90 crore rupees per hour. 90 crore bucks per hour. Now, how can he have a cash flow problem? He doesn't have it either. Now, that leaves the mediocre people, maybe like me and some other listeners. Mediocre people are thinking, will the money finish before the crisis, or will the crisis finish before the money? They're thinking that way. Now, you see, every few years, there is a new buzzword that comes up, new buzzword. See, 6, 7, 8 years ago, the buzzword used to be startup, startup, startup. So everybody was starting up. Now, the new word came a few years ago was make in India, make in India, make in India. So everybody is making in India now. Now the new buzzword is, the third one is work from home, work from home, work from home. Interestingly, yes, in some industries, maybe like IT, you can possibly work from home. How can you work from home in a construction industry? You can't. How can you work from home in a manufacturing industry? You can't. Now, I had a banker visit me the other day, and I asked him that you are paying people salaries for working from home. Are you getting the output equivalent to what you were paying? Now, here is the answer he gave, Sidhi. He said, Mr. Khera, the 80-20 rule applies. And that 80-20 rule is that 20% people are mature and responsible who can work without supervision. 20%. 80% people still need supervision. Even if you give them measurable targets, they still need supervision, 80%. And people who are not mature, they think working from home is a paid vacation. It's not. So there are concerns and questions as you go along on work from home. Now, another new buzzword. A few years ago, the buzzword used to be globalization, globalization, globalization. Now, new buzzword is localization, localization, localization. Why is that? I bet many business people are listening to this one tonight. But why is the new buzzword localization? Because till now, production was 20,000 miles away from consumption. And now all of a sudden, people have realized that a producing country can blackmail the consuming country within 5 minutes. And I just read, America depends on China for 97% of the pharma products. Man, Sidhi, did you know that? US depends on China for 97% of pharma products. And not only that, India depends on China for 81% of the antibiotics. 81% antibiotics. India depends on China for 70% electronics. I was shocked. Now the consuming country realized that, man, I can be blackmailed and in 5 minutes and go out of business. That's about it. So now production must come closer to consumption. Why did production go away 20,000 miles to begin with? Only primarily because of labor cost. And now because of automation and robotics, you can set up a plant production facility 100 times bigger with 1/10 of the labor now because that's automation. Okay. This is a major change. But now let me talk about one more thing and skip the livelihood component. Let's come to the lifestyle part. The third is the lifestyle. till the crisis came in, all of us were in the fast lane. We were running. Where we were going, we didn't know, but we had no time till the lockdown came in. Now, where we were going, we didn't know. But what the lockdown has done, and interesting thing is, when we had no time, Look at this. What a paradox. The amount of time-saving devices we have today, we have never had that many in history. And yet, we don't have what? We don't have time. What a joke. Now, why don't we have time? You know why? Because somewhere we messed up our priorities. And I'm not giving lectures here, Sidhi. I am guilty myself. And when we mess up our priorities, we forget to distinguish between what's urgent in life and what's important in life. Urgent may or may not be important, and important may or may not be urgent. But the interesting thing is that whenever we ignore what is important, it always converts into urgent. See, health is important, but it's not urgent. Exercising every day is important, but it's not urgent. If I have a crucial meeting tonight and if I cannot exercise, it's not the end of the world. But if I ignore my health long enough, guess what happens? I land up in the hospital. Look at this. You ignore what is important, it becomes urgent. Now, in life, relationships are important, but they're not urgent. But if you ignore relationship long enough, guess what happens? You start talking through your lawyers. How do you like that? You start talking through your lawyers. Folks, interesting thing is, this crisis has made people think, reevaluate your priorities. And till now we were running, but now people have stepped backward and asked, was I running in the right direction? If I wasn't, I was in deeper trouble. And now, look at this, you ask people, why do you go to work? I go to work for my family. Why do you work hard? I work hard for my family. Who are the most important people in your life? My family. Who are the most neglected? Also my family. What a joke. The most important people many times become the most neglected, and that is sad. And now people have realized one thing, that in life, direction is much more important than speed. I repeat, in life, direction is much more important than speed. Sidhi, are you with me? Direction is much more important than speed. Now, this is one component of lifestyle, but the second component of lifestyle is, we kept hearing till now, cash is king. Sidhi, I bet we all heard the word cash is king. Did we even understand what is cash is king? Now people have understood that it is better to have money in the bank than to have money to have 50 shirts in your closet. It is better to have money in the bank than to buy a car worth $250,000. That is what they understood. What is the meaning of cash is king? Now, you see, this crisis, there are only two references through history how similar crisis came. One was the Spanish flu. I'm not going to talk about it because you heard enough times on it. So I bet enough is spoken. But the second part, the second similar crisis came was in the Great Depression of 1929. Banks failed, stock market crashed, people lost their savings, and $100 became $15. Dollar lost its value by 85%, and 15 million people were unemployed. Now, 15 million, 100 years ago, it is equivalent to 50 million today, because the population in the US was only at that time 120 million. And I checked a few weeks ago that US already they have 55 million people unemployed, only US. Now, here is a silver lining. Sidhi, this is the bright spot. The bright spot is experience has shown that whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. One more time, I'll say, Sidhi, whenever unemployment goes up, self-employment always goes up. Now, during the Great Depression, there were some people who started their businesses at that time, and today they have become household words. Now, folks, They had no money, they had no education, they had no technology, they had no risk-taking ability, but they had one thing. They were positive people and they were solution-focused people. Then you notice there are some people who are problem-focused. You know what that means? You give them a solution, they'll give you a problem. They have a problem for every solution. Henry Ford said, kick them out, kick them out. We're not stupid. We understand there are problems in life, but we want solution-focused people. And I will share with you only 3 examples of it. One was a man by the name of George Jenkins. In his neighborhood, he started an outlet for non-perishable durable goods. Now, these 2 words are very important, non-perishable and durable. Why? Because if they perished, it's a loss. Durable means if they didn't sell, at least they could use it, because they had no risk-taking ability. He started 100 years ago like this, and today his turnover is $30 billion, net worth $6 billion. He has 1,000 outlets in the US, and the store's name is called Public Supermarket. Amazing. You can check out Google. Number 2, there are 2 brothers in California, Gallo brothers. They were struggling 100 years ago, had no money. They caught hold of some grapes, made wine out of it, but nobody had the money to buy it. They started selling it 50% below market. This is how they started 100 years ago. But today, Gallo Wineries accounts for 25% of wine trade in the US. And the valuations are close to $10 billion. And the 3rd example was a man by the name of Simplot. He had a little patch of land, and he started cultivating potatoes. Now, what he couldn't sell, they ate. What he couldn't eat started rotting. Now, he could not afford the loss of rotten potatoes, so he started freezing them. This is how he started 100 years ago. And today, he accounts for 33% of the French fries business in the US, and his valuations are close to $12 billion. Now, folks, I don't want to leave my listeners with the impression that you and I start a business and all of us will become billionaires. That is not the message at all. The message is only one clear, that all these people, that example that I shared with you, they had major problems, and some of them had more problems than you and I are facing today, but they were solution-focused people. Folks, the answer is that all of us need to become solution-focused one more time. And the second part is, I want to repeat what I said before. Think about it. How come under the same set of circumstances, some people break records while others break themselves? How come? Now, what are the solutions? How can we overcome this crisis? Normally, if I have time, I cover 9 solutions on this, but if not, I will cover at least 5 today. Step one. If you want to note this down, it goes like this. Step 1. The first one is the Serenity Prayer. Folks, about 45 years ago, in US, I attended a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book Power of Positive Thinking. There were about 1,000 people. I was one of them. And as Dr. Peale came, looked at everybody and said, you people appear so cool, calm, comfortable, relaxed. You people have no problem. Then he asked, does anybody have a problem here? So everybody raised their hand. Who doesn't have a problem? Then he said, how many people would like to get rid of the problem? Again, everybody raised their hand. Then he said, when I was coming here, I came across a place and I saw some people lying there all stretched out, comfortable. They had no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to know where that place is? Again, everybody raised their hand. Then Dr. Peale said, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. And there are people lying there all stretched out, comfortable, cool. They have no problem whatsoever. Then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of the problem? Nobody raised their hand. Everybody put their hand in the pocket. Then Dr. Peale said, remember, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we shall have problems. The day we don't have problem, we'd be dead. And he said, when you're running short of problems, that is the time to watch out and get on your knees and pray to God. Have you stopped trusting me anymore? Send me some problems. And that day he gave a prayer which is called the Serenity Prayer. And in my opinion, it is the gist of life. It is the crux of life. And in the last 45 years, I have never left my home without my prayer. And I've come across a lot of adversities. And it goes like this. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference what I can and what I cannot. I repeat one more time. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference what I can and what I cannot. Now, if you analyze and dissect this, God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Now, let me ask you, can we change everything the way we want it in this world? Answer is no. Can we manipulate and mold everything to suit ourselves? Answer is no. There are many things beyond us, such as, I didn't choose my parents, neither did you. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, and neither did you. And if this is my height and the color of my skin, there's nothing I can do about it. And granted, sometimes people are born deformed. And sometimes bad things do happen to good people for no fault of their own. What wrong did they do? Who knows? How did this corona crisis come? I have no idea, but it's here. It says, what I cannot change, let me accept graciously, not grudgingly. Because many times in life, we keep fighting the things that we just cannot change. And we bring stress into our lives, and we become paralyzed, and we become unproductive. So it says, if I cannot change, let me accept it graciously. And if I can, then give me the courage to do it. And third, wisdom to know the difference, what I can and what I cannot. Now, folks, when I wrote my new book, which was launched in London last year, You Can Achieve More, I took this thought 2 steps forward. And I wrote in that life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. Seems like a contradiction, but not really. Now, how is life full of choices? Sidhi, look at this. If I ill-treat you, I've chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I? If I treat you with discourtesy, I've chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? And if I light up a cigarette, I've chosen to invite cancer, haven't I? And if I drink and drive, I've chosen to invite an accident, haven't I? And if I exercise every day, I've chosen to invite good health, haven't I? And if I eat too much every day, I've chosen to be obese, haven't I? And look at this. If I tell lies, I have chosen to lose my credibility, haven't I? And if I tell the truth, I have chosen to be a credible person, haven't I? Are you with me? See, how is life full of choices? Keep in mind, we are all free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. We are only free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, our freedom stops and the choice controls the chooser now. How is life full of compromises? In life, we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us. What we can choose how we play the game. And sometimes nature gives us a lemon. The choice is ours. Do we cry or do we make lemonade? That's our choice. Now, many times people ask me, Mr. Khera, people who are successful, don't they make mistakes in life? And people who are not successful, don't they do positive things in life? And here is my answer for them, Sidhi, that people who are successful, they do make mistakes. But remember, making a mistake once in a while does not make a person a failure. Repeating the same mistake again and again is what brings failure. And doing something positive once in a while does not bring success either. Repeating the same positive behavior again and again is what brings success. And that's about it. What is success? Series of positive choices in life is called success, and series of negative choices in life is called failure. And that's it. It's not complex. It is simple. Sidhi, are you with me? That's one. Now, step two. Step two, how do we overcome stress and crisis? Step two is convert your downtime to uptime. Sidhi, I just read about 4 weeks ago something very powerful. Nelson Mandela was in jail for 27 years and eventually became the president. So somebody asked him, Mr. Mandela, how did you survive 27 years in jail? And look at the answer Mandela gave. He said, I was not surviving, I was preparing. I was not surviving, I was preparing. And from there, we pulled out, and I created a quote now. I said, I will not let the crisis define me. I will use the crisis to refine me. I will not let this crisis define me. I will use this crisis to refine me. Now, how do you convert downtime to uptime? Folks, if during this crisis, if you have not upskilled yourself, 1, 2, become more knowledgeable, 3, become healthier and fitter, you cannot say, I did not have time. Because we had it all through. Now, a survey was done in the US before the crisis. Before the crisis, a survey was done in US that an average American watches TV 3 to 4 hours per day. Now, this is not only average American. It is European, Australian, Indian, everywhere. They're watching 3 to 4 hours of TV per day before the crisis. Now, during the crisis, there are people watching 8, 10 hours of TV per day. Now, a man went to a friend who used to watch 4 hours of TV per day, and he asked him, how much did this TV cost you? He said, $1,000. He said, you don't know how to calculate things in life. He said, what do you mean? He asked the friend, have you ever calculated the money value of your time? He said, no, but it is not that difficult. He said, if I make $100,000 per year, and if I put in 2,000 hours of work per year, my hourly rate comes to $50 per hour. He said, multiply with 4 hours every day you watch TV, that is $200 per day. Multiply that with 365 days per year, he said it comes to close to $100,000 per year, which is more than your EMI on $1 million home. He said, you don't know how to calculate your time. You watch 4 hours of TV per day, $50 per hour, that comes to $100,000 per year, which is more than your EMI on $1 million home. Look, don't get me wrong. We all watch TV. We like it, a nice movie. It relaxes us. But watching 4 hours a day, what are you doing? You are wasting your life. And those people are making money out there. Now, in my same book, You Can Achieve More, I have mentioned one more survey which said that 85% of millionaires and billionaires in the world today are first generation. Only 15% are coming from inheritance. I repeat, 85% of millionaires and billionaires in the world are first generation. Sidhi, did you know that? 85%. And they were asked, how did you achieve so much financial success in such a short time? And the answer was, we read books. How many books? 50 books a year. 50 books a year means 1 book a week. I was just reading with Warren Buffett. This guy, Warren Buffett, reads 6 to 8 hours per day. He reads 100 pages per day. You can Google and check today. Bill Gates is an avid reader. And 85% of millionaires who are billionaires out there, they read 1 book a week. 1 book a week. What does it tell us? There is a connection between learning and earning and learning and earning and learning and earning and earning. Learn more, earn more, learn more, earn more. Now, what kind of books were they reading? They said, we have no time to waste. We don't read fiction at all. We only read self-help books. Why? Because one good idea is worth $1 million. How many ideas do you need to succeed in life? Only one. Bill Gates got only one. Bill Gates doesn't have a second one. Folks, interesting. Now, and I also learned one thing, that people who are serious readers, they don't lend or borrow books. They never do. Many times people come to me and they say, Mr. Khera, I've got a great new book. I can lend it to you. I said, don't. Either give it to me, gift it to me, sell it to me, don't lend it to me. Why? Because I won't give it back to you. Why? Because I learned one thing. When I read a good book, I always underline, make notes on the side. Why? Because I learned one thing, Sidhi, the reading a good book once is not good enough. Why? When you read a good book the second time, you don't find anything new in the book, but you find something new in yourself. And when you read it the third time, there's nothing new in the book, but you find something new yourself again. And the fourth time, fifth time, sixth time, seventh time, eighth time, 10 times. Now, I share with you why I said this. Arrow Electronics, $26 billion company in the US, they're my clients. And just 3-4 weeks ago, they celebrated their bumper quarter in the history of the company. Bumper quarter. You know what? During the lockdown period, they had $2 billion in sale. And they celebrated, and I keynoted their event. And the managing director, I asked him, I said, what do you attribute this success to? He said, Mr. Khera, you don't know. I attended your program 20 years ago. And he said, when I took over as managing director of electronics, Arrow Electronics, we had 2% market share. Right now, we have 20% market share. And he said, when I had your program, I bought all your books and your material, your DVDs and everything, not only for myself, he said, for my entire staff, everybody in my company has audiobook, all your books. And he said, we have read your book 20 times. And look at what he said, Sidhi. He said, if you ever forget something in your book, where is this paragraph in your book? He said, call me, I'll tell you where this belongs there. I know your book by heart. And he said, we have read your book. Every year we read your book one more time. Interesting. But there are some people who said, I've read your book once. I said, you got nothing out of it. You wasted your time and money too. There are some books I read 6-7 times. Folks, look at this. Winners don't do different things. They do things differently. How do you like that? Winners don't do different things. They do things differently. It is not how much you know that matters. It is how much you practice that matters. It is not how much we eat, it's how much we digest that matters. Look at this. The guy says, I've read your book 20 times. We practice it. How do you like that? Now, why am I sharing this with you? I said, if during the lockdown period, if we have not upskilled ourselves or become more knowledgeable or become fitter, healthier, we cannot blame that we had no time. Now, I share these 3 things because, folks, the lockdown came in March. I did my first webinar, Sidhi, on April 8th. But till April 8th, I was learning to do SMS for my grandchildren. I didn't know how to do it. And hear this one more time. I did not know how to operate a computer because I had never done it in my life. In my life, I had never done an email. No email in my life. I didn't know it. Now, I'm not an expert, but I learned to operate the computer right now. And since April 8th to now, this is my 133rd webinar. And I've been paid for it by Bank of America, Fidelity. I mean, the companies are paying. We've done it for NHS from UK. And right now, we are giving out dates for March right now. This has opened up a new avenue business for us permanently, which I didn't even know existed. Why? Because I upskilled myself a little. 1. 2, I started reading my books back again. There was a time I was reading 20, 30 books a year. I started putting my books back again. And every day right now, I'm spending 2 to 3 hours either reading a book or listening to a good video. I'm learning a lot during this period. And third, I lost 6 kilos of weight. Lost 6 kilos. I exercise every day. And you know something? I am feeling fitter, which I never felt 30 years ago. And if the crisis goes on, man, I'm feeling healthier and fitter. My business is growing up. I created a new line of business today, and this crisis goes on for 2 more years. Man, I'm enjoying, I'm laughing. I don't want it to go on, don't get me wrong. My point is, during the crisis, if you have not upskilled yourself or become healthier, fitter, and become more knowledgeable, we cannot blame that we had no time. We lack self-discipline and commitment. That is the question. Are you with me? Now, 3, folks, to overcome any crisis, the biggest solution is to create strong relationships in life, because that is your support group in life. That is your support group. Folks, I want to share with you a story from my book, You Can Win. There are 2 childhood friends, Bill and Harry. They went to school together, college together, joined the army, war broke out, and they were fighting in the same unit. Bullets were flying all over. Harry was in the trench, and a voice came from the darkness, "Harry, I am hurt. Please come and help me." So right away, he knew this was his childhood friend, Bill. So he asked the captain, "Can I go?" Captain said, "No. Look at the way bullets are flying, you could be dead, and I could be short-handed. And the way Bill is sounding, I don't think he will live anyway." Well, he kept quiet. But then from the darkness, the voice came again, "Harry, I'm hurt. Please come and help me." Since he had been refused once, he did not have the guts to second time. But then the voice came the 3rd time, 4th time, 5th time. Harry couldn't hold himself. He said, "Captain, this is my childhood friend. I must go." Captain said, "Okay, go." So Harry crawled through the darkness, grabbed Bill, dragged him back, threw him into the trench, fell over him. And they found Bill dead. It was his dead body. When Captain saw Bill dead, he got angry. He said, "Didn't I tell you, you could have been killed and I could be short-handed?" And he didn't make it anyway. He said, "Harry, you made a mistake." Sidhi, hear this. Harry said, "Captain, I did not make a mistake, because when I reached Bill and I grabbed him, he wasn't dead. His last words were, 'Harry, I knew you would come.'" He said, "Captain, I did not make a mistake. His last words were, 'Harry, I knew you would come.'" This is how crucial relationships are in life. And when there's a good one, it needs to be nurtured and cherished. And remember, our biggest asset in life is not our bank account, bank balance. It is our relationship balance. You know something? People who have good relationships, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. Are you with me? People who have good relationship, what they can achieve with one phone call, you cannot achieve with $1 million. And folks, I address many business schools all over the world. And now in business schools, they teach networking. And you ask these guys, and they join the Chamber of Commerce's or the TiEs or the Lions and the Rotaries to network. You ask them, "What are you doing?" Networking. And you ask them, "Why are you networking?" And he says, "I'm building contacts." "Why are you building contacts?" "Because someday he could be useful. He's a doctor, he's a lawyer, he's a cop, he's a money guy, he's well connected. Someday he could be useful." Usefulness goes, friendship also goes. You can never in life build relationship with people like that. You know why? They are rascals, they are parasites, they are selfish people, they're only takers. Usefulness goes, friendship goes. You know why? They don't understand the difference between building contacts versus building relationships. Are you with me? There's a world of a difference between building contacts versus building relationships in life, and people like that don't understand that usefulness is a byproduct of a relationship. Are you with me? Usefulness is a byproduct of relationship. You see, once in Singapore, I came from dinner, And I met a person in the lobby and he asked me, Mr. Khera, you went for dinner? I said, yes. He said, you met some people tonight? I said, yes. Sidhi, he asked me, I hope you met some people who are useful to you tonight. I hope you met some people who could be useful to you tonight. I felt like giving him a piece of my mind and something more. This person doesn't understand one thing. His only criteria of meeting people was usefulness, means what he can extract out of them. He doesn't understand that meeting good people in life is good enough. Usefulness is a byproduct of relationship. Are you with me? Meeting good people is good enough. But usefulness is a byproduct of relationship. Example, supposing I have a friend of 20 years, and tonight if he has a problem, who is the most natural person he will go for help to? The friend of 20 years. He's not going to make new friends tonight. Now, is it my duty to help? Answer is yes. If I help him, am I doing a favor? No, it's my duty. Remember, helping each other is a duty of a friend. It is never the purpose of friendship. Why? Because the moment the purpose finishes, friendship finishes too. It is never the purpose of friendship. It is a duty and it is incidental to friendship. Are you remember with me? It is always incidental to friendship. Now, one more thing. Sidhi, you keep hearing that in life you should be tolerant. True? Yes, no. Yes, no. Answer is no. No, incorrect answer. Now, why do I say that? I would replace the word tolerance with mutual respect. I repeat, mutual respect is the word. Here is Sidhi, I and my wife live together, not because we can tolerate each other. We live together because we respect each other. The day respect for each other goes, we cannot live together. If we only live together because of we tolerate each other, you know what it means? Postponing the blast. Same thing, employees work long-term together, not because they can tolerate each other. Long-term, they work together only because they respect each other. The day the respect goes, you cannot live together. Are you with me? The word is mutual respect. It is not tolerance. Tolerance means I'm postponing the blast. Now, you see, the crucial thing is what I just shared with you in the last 1 hour. Sidhi, you tell me you've got a lot of experience. To my knowledge, my 2 girls have done their masters from US. Is any school and college teaching what we just talked about in the last 1 hour? To my knowledge, none, not even one. Now, I had the dean of James Cook University go through my program in Singapore from Australia. And he said, I've been in academics for the past 25 odd years. And he said, I've never seen anything like this. And he said, Mr. Khera, we want your program to be permanently being running in our school at Singapore campus and set up a center of leadership excellence. And they have partnered with us now. They have partnered with us. And we are starting to do the program in Singapore for the MBAs. And here we have created a new program for schools and colleges. Sidhi, this might be useful for your side. We've created a program for schools and colleges which says, and also for induction, for corporates, they don't have a good induction orientation program. And the program is called, when we do corporate training today, we tell our people, what I'm doing in your corporate today is repair work. Now, if you prepare them, you won't have to repair them. Where do you prepare them? You prepare them in schools and colleges. And sadly, they're not doing their job. And we've created a new program called Prepare Them, Don't Repair Them. Are you with me? Prepare them, don't repair them. And we've just partnered with James Cook University in Singapore campus now. So that is something we are committed to do. For money or for no money, for money or for no money, either side, we are ready to go along all the way wherever we can. So keep in mind, Sidhi, as we go along. For money or for no money, it doesn't matter. Okay, now, this is building relationships in life, very crucial. And next one is, in life, to go up in life, we need to become a proactive person, not just a reactive person. Why I'm saying that? Because when we do our leadership program, 3-4 day leadership programs for Lufthansa, Johnson & Johnson, we ask people, are you a good person? And sometimes they say, yes, I'm a good person. You ask, what makes you good? They say, well, I don't do bad, I don't steal, I don't tell lies, so I'm good. So my answer is, I disagree with you. Because not doing bad does not make a person good. If I don't tell lies, it only means I'm not a liar. If I don't steal, it only means I'm not a thief, but that does not make me good. Go ask a medical doctor. Absence of ill health does not mean good health. Are you with me? Absence of ill health does not mean good health. Not doing bad does not make a person good. A person becomes good only when they proactively do good. Proactively do good. That's the time they become good. Now, I share this because in my experience of doing leadership program for the past 35 years, I've learned one thing, Sidhi, that a good leader is never neutral. A good leader always takes a stand for something and takes a stand against something. He's not neutral. And if he's neutral, he's a politician. Now, why am I sharing this? Because I bet many people in the leadership role are listening to this program, because once I finished the program, I addressed about 5,000 people, and a man from the audience came up and he asked me, Mr. Khera, tell me, are you a Gandhian? Now, I learned one lesson in my life, Sidhi. Before you answer, you must clarify the question. And two, sometimes the best answer to a question is a question. So I asked him, sir, can you define a Gandhian to me? Can you tell me who is a Gandhian, what makes a Gandhian, and what are the principles being a Gandhian? So the man said, Gandhi stood on 3 principles. 1, Gandhi believed that with love, you can win everyone. 2, Gandhi believed in tolerance. 3, Gandhi believed in non-violence. In life, tell me, does life always go up and up and up and up and up, or life goes up and down, roller coaster? Yes, no.
It's always a roller coaster, Shiv. And with that, I have a question. You had mentioned about stress and about, that's a difference between a jackass and a true bred. But then how do we ensure that that stress can be a beneficial stress?
Let me come back to you. Let me come to you on this one. Let me just finish this one little thought. You see, life is a roller coaster, goes up and down and up and down. Now, important thing is, when there is a down in life, a person who's looking to come back in life, they analyze the situation and they ask, if a similar situation came again, will I behave the same way? If the answer is yes, means you've not learned anything. They analyze, learn from it, don't make the same mistake again, take responsibility. But a person who's not looking to get anywhere, when things go wrong, you know what they say? Not my fault, my stars are not favoring me. And they keep repeating the same mistake again and again and again and again.
No, thank you so much. This was so inspirational. We got to 4 cardinal rules, and thank you for sharing all the link to download all the 11 cardinal rules of how come some break records and some break themselves, and how do we ensure we are in the former and not the latter. So this is pretty inspirational, Shiv. I have never been so active on chat as I have been today, and I'm sure the audience loved it as well. There are many questions that have come up. So my request here would be that, guys, if you have any questions, please share it either in the Q&A box, which is ideal, or in your chat, and we'll pick it up from there and ask our inputs with Shiv. Shiv, on the side, I've also shared your email ID because they were interested to get connected with you. And we've shared the link of the 11 cardinal rules. And Shiv has offered to share 3 of his books, autographed books, with 3 lucky winners who are in the attendee list today, and we'll share those names with the folks tomorrow. So please share more questions, and also if you have any testimonials, please share it online. We'll share our Facebook and LinkedIn links with you as well. So starting with the first question, Shiv, which is not on your inspirational side, but as an author. How can we document our setbacks into an inspirational book? What is the first step? Manisha Siwal has asked this, and she would like to remember this challenging time and not waste the crisis.
Okay, Manisha, if you want to be an author and write a book, I'll tell you what, you cannot write a book overnight and be done with it. And I'll share with you one tip which I learned very well, and it has worked me very well. And if you do it, guaranteed, you will be an author within this 2021 period. All you do is, by and large, you will find most books are 150 to 200 pages tops. And if you write only one page a day, you know something, in less than 7 months, you'll have a book. 7 months is 210 days, and 6 months is 180 days. You see, if you write only one page a day, you see, writing one page a day is a lot easier than writing 200 pages overnight. Are you with me? Just write one page a day, and in less than 6 months, you'll have a book and you'll be an author, Manisha. Are you with me? So that's all you need to do is go ahead and do it. That is the only way to do it. And after you do it, send me one of your books with autographed by you, and I will treasure it. That's all. One page a day. In fact, Sidhi, this was a question asked by one of your charter members, Anand. He said, can you mentor me? I said, sure. And he said, I want to write a book. How do I do it? I've been thinking for the past 5 years. I said, you will go for another 5 years and you will not have a book. But all you do is write one page a day. In less than 6 months, you will be an author in this period.
Rather, Shiv, good you mentioned it. Dr. Anand is in our session today as well.
Yes,
I want to say something to Dr. Anand. He's right here.
Just write one page a day, and in less than 6 months, you'll have 180 pages. And 7 months, man, you got 210 pages. You are done. And I'll be honored to be at your inaugural on the book. Absolutely.
Thank you, Shiv. Manisha says yes, and thank you so much, Mr. Khera.
And God has been kind. We've now sold over 10 million copies of our books. You go ahead, do it.
Great. Shiv, moving on to the next question. How does one convert distress to, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, eustress or beneficial stress? This is by Sabrishan CK.
Eustress is a word which is called positive stress. It was given by it'll just come to my mind, by a guy in Canada. He's considered to be the father of handling stress, how you handle stress. But how do you convert that? Let me share with you. It is stress that makes us perform. That's about it. Now, how do you convert into a positive stress? Keep in mind, stress is a weakness, but when you convert it into a positive stress, we need to learn how to convert a weakness into a strength. Now, how do you do it? Remember one thing. Any strength overextended becomes a weakness. Our strength can also become a weakness. See, look at this. In sales, being able to communicate well, talk well is a strength. But have you noticed one thing, Sidhi? People who are good talkers, they talk themselves into a sale, then they talk too much, and they talk themselves out of a sale. The strength got them in, but any strength overextended becomes a weakness. Listening is a strength, but overextended, it becomes a weakness. You don't talk enough. Leadership is a strength. You see the bigger picture in life. Overextended, you forget to see the minor details. Being detail-oriented is a strength, but overextended, you forget to see the bigger picture. So any strength overextended becomes a weakness. Now, how do you convert our greatest weakness can become our greatest strength? How do you convert a weakness into a strength? Let me share with you here. You hear people saying anger is a weakness. Sidhi, anger is considered a weakness. Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Now, hear this one thing carefully. You said it is a weakness, but go check out all over the world. No change ever took place till somebody got angry. I repeat, no change ever took place till somebody got angry. Now, if you look at Gandhi's history, life, when Gandhi was in South Africa and he was thrown out by the Britishers out of the train on the platform, he was thrown out physically. And he was lying on the platform. And when he was lying on the platform, he didn't say, man, I'm enjoying it. Throw me one more time. He didn't say that. When he was lying on the platform, he got so angry that day. He said, you threw me out of the platform. You threw me out of the train. Watch, I will go to India, throw you out of the country. What did he do? He converted his anger into a resolution. His greatest weakness became his greatest strength. Are you with me? His greatest weakness became his greatest strength. So we need to understand, use that stress to convert it into something positive, and you will watch it will become your greatest strength in life. It happened with me all the time. I mean, I go through this, and many times people ask me, Mr. Khera, do you also get demotivated? Do you also get under stress? I said, yes, I do. He said, how do you overcome it? I said, I read my book again, and it picks me up again. I'm not kidding. You see, keep one thing in mind. We all get demotivated. Motivation is like fire. Motivation is like fire. Unless you keep adding fuel, it dies. Look at the athlete. When he stops practicing, what happens to his stamina? Goes down, he goes back again. See, this is like a battery. You have to charge. Don't let it die to charge. When it is half back, get it up back again. See, when you are driving a car, you start with a tank full. Tell me, do you wait till tank to get empty till you fill it? No. When it is half again, you go back, fill it. Because if you wait till the tank is empty, you'll be keep pushing the car all your life. You see, when you are half up, go back, refill it. Same thing is willpower. Keep in mind, Sidhi, hear this one. Willpower is like a battery. You need to recharge and stay up that way. Otherwise, we all skip, we all fall down. You see, just like our bodies need food every day, our minds need positive thoughts every day. Tell me, the food that you ate yesterday, how long did that last? Less than 24 hours. The bath that we took yesterday, how long did that last? If we don't take a bath every day, we start stinking. So same thing, in order to stay motivated every day, you need to feed your mind with something positive. Look at all the billionaires study. They read 50 books a year. You need to feed your mind with something positive every day to stay on track. So keep in mind, motivation is like fire. You add fuel every day, you'll stay up. You don't, you'll fall down. That is how you turn a negative into a positive. That is how you can turn a stress into eustress.
Thanks, Shiv. So that means you need to also, anger is, like you said, can be in your favor if you know the trick of constructively channelizing it.
Let me explain to you, Sidhi. There is a big difference between anger and short temper. Short temper is an emotional outburst. Anger is deep-rooted. I repeat one more time. Your short temper is emotional outburst, whereas anger is deep-rooted. So we need to understand how do you convert that and channelize. See, short temper is an emotional outburst that is emotional imbalance, lack of emotional strength, whereas anger is deep-rooted.
Shiv, I'm mindful of the time. So last question. This is by Swapnil. How do we distinguish between courage and foolhardiness?
Okay. You see, courage is not absence of fear, it is overcoming fear. Foolhardiness is trying to prove something. You are trying to prove, I dare you, and just to prove me wrong, you do behave foolish things in life. You know something? Why would a person be foolhardy? Am I here to prove you anything here? I'm not to prove anything. That guy is foolhardy. He's just doing it to show you that I can do it. You're stupid. No, I don't have to prove you anything. You know something? This is lack of emotional strength. Lack of emotional strength. Now, let me show you what is the driving behind it. See, Emotional, if for people who are emotionally strong, they have high self-esteem. Now, what is self-esteem? When we do our 4-day program, we spend 5 hours on self-esteem. What is self-esteem? Self-esteem is the way we feel about ourselves. When we feel good, the world looks nice, productivity goes up, and relationships are a lot better. And the reverse is true. And self-esteem is inversely related to egos. Have you seen people with egos like I know it all? What do? They talk down to people, don't they? They put down others, don't they? And every decision they make is more to satisfy ego than makes sense. Think about it. Why does a human being put down another human being? It is sadistic but true. There are some people in this world who feel good when you feel bad. They feel superior when you feel inferior, which means they don't want to lift themselves up, but they want to pull others
down.
Now, why do I share this? What is the driving force behind self-esteem? We go 5-hour program on this. See, the self-esteem is driven by self-acceptance. And low self-esteem is driven by inadequacy and self-doubt. Inadequacy and self-doubt. Let me share with you an example, quick one. Self-acceptance says, I accept myself the way I am, with my pluses and minuses, because none of us is perfect. Now, this does not mean arrogance, and this does not mean take it or leave it. That's arrogance, and that is low self-esteem. It only means I accept myself the way I am, with my pluses and minuses. And Sidhi, it says, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I made mistakes. I apologize for my mistakes. I seek forgiveness for my mistakes. I learn from my mistakes. I'm not proud of my mistakes. I will not repeat my mistakes. But remember, Sidhi, I am not a mistake. I am not a mistake. I accept myself the way I am, with my pluses and minuses. Doesn't mean I will stay that way, but I accept myself. I am at peace with myself. I am at peace with myself. And people who feel inadequacy, they always are here to prove something. I have to prove you. That's why the guy becomes foolhardy. But a person with high self-esteem will have courage, fight it. Now, the only one example that I can share with you of self-acceptance and high self-esteem is, which I was written in my book, You Can Achieve More. It is from the memoir from Charlie Chaplin. Sidhi, here is Charlie Chaplin. Once, Charlie Chaplin was traveling through Europe, and he saw big hoarding, big sign, Charlie Chaplin lookalike contest. And the guy, out of sheer inquisitiveness, he said, let me go in, let me participate. And he did. And guess what? He lost. He came number 7. He started thinking, real one loses and the fake one wins. Sidhi, he said, fake one wins. And he said, but here, I'm the only one who knows who the real one is. Nobody knows the real one. I'm the only one who knows who the real one is. I'm the one. Should I tell them? Then he started thinking, why should I tell them? Am I here to prove you anything? If I prove them that I'm the real one here, it'll destroy their entire lookalike contest. He said, I have to prove nothing to anyone. Why? You know why? I know my identity. I know my identity. I have to prove nothing to anyone. He walked away without telling anybody anything. And this is written in his memoir. He said, I'm at peace with myself. I have to prove nothing. You know something? This foolhardy guy is trying to prove you something. He doesn't have to do it. It's a self-esteem issue and nothing more. Thank you, sir.
Brilliant, Shiv.
I'm grateful.
This was, I don't know where this 1.5 hours flew, and I wish we had more time on this. Besides the cardinal rules, there's so many, pieces of advice that I'm taking with myself, and I'm sure the attendees are as well. Folks, Shiv has shared 4 cardinal rules, but there's 7 more. So please download the 11 cardinal rules that Shiv has given. Please help us fill up this very quick poll, which takes about 15 seconds. And Shiv has been kind enough to share 3 autographed books that he has written with 3 lucky folks. So please share your testimonials with us, your comments, your inputs, and we would declare the 3 names by tomorrow. Shiv, thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom with us, especially at the time when it is needed, but you're not well, and still, you joined us for this session and you gave this talk. So thank you so much. And everyone else, thank you so much for spending your evening with us and listening to Shiv. That's Sidhi Dhir again from TiE Singapore. See you next week.
I'll take your leave. Thank you,
Thank you,
Sidhi.
Shiv. Bye-bye.